Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show. I'm Trevor Stockwell. Thanks for joining us today. My guest with me is Jennie Lyon. Now, Jennie has over 20 years experience as a digital marketer and is the founder of Jennie Lyon Digital Marketing and Virtual Assistant Services. Now, along with her team, she's helped thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs both build their brand and also streamline their businesses. So she knows what she's doing. 20 years is a long time. Her services cover a wide range of areas, so things like strategy, marketing strategies, copywriting, design, website design, funnels, lots of different areas. In fact, I didn't spot anything she doesn't do, but we'll dig into some more of that shortly. She's here to share some of her expertise, amongst other things, on how to double our online businesses and work less by utilising the strengths of an online marketing team. Great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, Jennie.
Thank you, Trevor. I'm so happy to be here.
It's always nice to chat to experts. I find I learn a lot and that's why people tune in, because we're always on a growth journey, aren't we, to learn something as we're going. I also think it's like we can use it as a checklist. So sometimes we think we know what we're doing well, and then we hear something else and think, actually, I could just tweak, I could sharpen something there, make a little adjustment to really scale up the business. So always good to listen to experts. So great that we've got a chance to chat. Maybe to start us off with, share a little bit about Jennie and sort of what brought you into starting your business in the first place.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I actually went to college to become a pharmacist.
Okay.
So my husband always teases me that I went to school for all those years and never even worked in a pharmacy. So it was always my intention, but my journey really changed when my son was born. So Eben was born in 2001. And he has Asperger's. And I knew pretty immediately that, life wasn't going to be the same, and that meant work as well, and between doctor's appointments, therapy sessions, meeting after meeting at school, working a traditional 9 to 5, it just wasn't going to work for our family. I felt like I really needed to create a career for myself, something that would allow me to work when I could work. So early in the morning or late at night or while he was asleep or at school. And I had worked in marketing during college and I really enjoyed it. So I really started to kind of dig in and read everything that I could about it and watched endless amounts of YouTube videos and, read tons of books. And I really realized that I was really passionate about helping small business owners and entrepreneurs with those different marketing strategies. And so it was something that, I started to initially do for myself. I thought, gosh, I want to learn all of these things. And the concept of a virtual team was really so brand new, and hiring, a virtual digital marketing expert really wasn't something that I think businesses were ready for when I started. I mean, even the whole concept of digital marketing was really brand new. I mean, really limited to mostly like email marketing or website ads. And I mean, gosh, Facebook wasn't even invented for like 3 years. And so, when I launched, I found my first client on Craigslist. So that tells you how long ago it was. And, I worked really closely with her and, just kind of grew everything that I knew, and built a team. And, now I've worked, with thousands of, online business owners and entrepreneurs and help them from every step of their business, from the foundational pieces of building the business all the way up to scaling, their business. And so I love working really closely with my clients as a collaborative partner and really help them to build an online business that really makes their competitors jealous.
That sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. I like the way you said that you partner with them and you sort of work with them, because I know like, for people listening, they've all had different experiences with getting marketing people involved in their business, I'm sure. Some of it probably works well, some of it probably not so well. And there's different approaches that different organizations take. But you actually sort of come alongside, you tailor make the actual sort of package, the help that the business needs as well, don't you? So that's really, it's the personalized service element to it that I really like. And I think that's sort of where part of your superpower really, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes, I think so too. I think, I've heard from clients, over and over that they've worked with someone virtually, but really felt like almost it was more work because they were trying to figure out what to have their virtual team member do. And a lot of times they feel like they're not even sure what they should be doing. So to have someone who has the expertise in the field that can really come to you and say, hey, I've seen this work in your industry, and these are things that I think you should be doing. And, even on the flip side that, you're doing some things in your business that, aren't going to bring you the biggest results. So, really finding that strategy and that marketing plan that's going to work for each individual business.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dig into the marketing sort of plan and strategy a bit more if that's right in a moment. Maybe just first off, any sort of challenges that you've overcome which you're happy to share that you think would help people that may be struggling wherever they are on their journey?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, I think a big thing, I've seen it over and over with my clients, and even for myself, I think I was the guinea pig, at the beginning, I worked all the time. I tried to do all the things myself, and, I ended up working 16-hour days, and I really lived and breathed my business. And, I really just thought I could do it all, and I would think to myself, of course I can handle all of this for my clients and for myself. And, it really didn't become a problem for me, until a few years into my business where I really realized that I couldn't continue to do everything myself, that I was missing out on so much of my own life, and I think there's like one experience that really like comes back to me whenever someone asks me about this. And I remember it just like it was yesterday. It was a Friday morning. My husband has Fridays off, and he had asked me if I wanted to go out to dinner and a movie that night with him and my son. And I was like, yes, that sounds really lovely. And he was like, okay, I made plans, I bought tickets, and, we'll be ready to go around 7. And I was like, okay. And he kind of gave me a little side-eyed look like, are you sure that you'll be able to come at 7? And I was like, absolutely, I can do it. And throughout the day, he would kind of pop in to see how the day was coming, and he'd say 7:00. And I'd be like, yep, I'm going to be ready. And, 7:00 came really quick on that Friday, and I wasn't quite finished with what needed to be finished. And, I thought, oh, well, maybe I could do it tomorrow, but really I had a deadline for myself. I really needed to get it done today. And, I watched them leave. They went to the movie and dinner without me. And I remember just being really upset, like I remember thinking it's just dinner and a movie, but it wasn't. I'd missed other things too, just because I felt like I had to do everything. And so as they left, I felt awful. And, the next day I remember waking up and thinking, no, I can't do this anymore. I have to figure out a different way. And I didn't have a huge budget. I was new in my own business, but I knew that I couldn't continue to do what I was doing. It just wasn't working. So I decided to hire my own virtual team member. And, it made such a huge difference in my life and in my business. All of a sudden, I didn't have all this pressure on me that I had to be the one to do everything. And I was able to do everything that I had been doing and more. All of a sudden, my business was able to grow because I had more time to focus on it. And I wasn't just trying to keep everything held together while I was working for everybody else. And I was also able to free up, a lot of time to focus on other areas of my life. And I never missed another, fun Fat Friday family night. So that's a good thing too.
Absolutely. Yeah, well done. No, it's, as you're sharing that, I'm thinking, yeah, one of the reasons why we get into business to become entrepreneurs is because of the flexibility of time. We want to be able to control our time more.
Right.
But then we've all lived, maybe are living through that scenario exactly where actually you want to do a lot more than you've got hours in the day to do. If you don't do it, if you haven't got a team, nobody else is going to do it as well. Something has to sort of give. And you're right, it's like we can't get time back, can we? So it really is getting serious with ourselves, I suppose, and with our businesses as to, okay, how do you want to make the business work? Because the other side of that is once momentum starts within a business and you want to scale it, if you're doing everything and then it grows, you've then got to do it quicker, faster, smarter, whatever, or you'll burn out. And it's just like, none of that is useful, is it?
No.
So yes, it's a learning curve. I think everybody is at some place on. If people are happy with a small business ticking over and they can manage it, fine. But if you've got aspirations where you really want to grow, and you're probably not an expert in all of the areas that you want to do or that needs to happen, I think that's a key element as well. Just because we can do stuff doesn't mean we should, does it?
Right.
So, no, that's really good. Let's jump into the strategy, the marketing plan side of it first, because what I'm thinking is, if you've got a team but you haven't got a plan, it's not going to work very well. So there's a lot we could talk about on this, so we're only going to kind of touch little bits of it. But what would you say would be the key things about working out a marketing strategy for people that maybe think, yeah, I've got one, I'm fine, but it's not really working that well, and they might need to make a few adjustments? Knowing your target audience, I guess, is the key one, which I'm sure everybody's heard. Whether we've mastered it or not yet, maybe is a different thing. But along with that, what are some of the other considerations that would feed into having enough of a structure that it's workable, that either you do it yourself or you hand it on to a team that can then kind of kick in? That is a big question, I know. So kind of take that however you want.
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, everything that, I offer my clients, I've definitely tried and tested before. And so I really try to meet my clients where they are. So, I definitely have a process that I use to see, where are you now? Where do you want to go? And, how do we get there? And does, the end goal make sense as well? And, I think a lot of times I hear from people that they aren't quite sure, that they're not sure. I mean, they're really not even sure where they are. A question I ask a lot of times is like, well, where are you seeing the most success in your business? Or, where are you getting the most leads? And a lot of times they're like, I'm not sure. I'm doing all these things. I'm getting a little bit of business. I'm having a little bit of success, but I'm not quite sure where it's coming from. And so I think that's a really common thing that I hear is, that they're not sure what's working and definitely not sure what to do to get them where they want to go. And, I think that, like you touched on with the knowing your ideal audience, that's another thing that I hear a lot when I ask about, who is your ideal client? And a lot of times people say everyone, and I'm like, no, it can't be everyone. I mean, it just can't, and I try to tell them, that if you're marketing to everyone, then essentially you're marketing to no one. You really need to know that target audience and your ideal client inside and out. You want, when they see your content, you want them to have an immediate connection with it. You want them to feel like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me. That's exactly what I need. Yeah. And, that's something that, I've definitely learned even in my own business, through trial and error and different experiences that really have allowed me to build marketing strategies that really do work for my client's business. So I think that's a really important one, is to definitely, meet them where they're at, but make sure that where they want to go makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, so you're taking your client to where you think they should go, but more importantly, finding out where they want to go and help them get to that point. And
exactly,
maybe it's the discovery journey that you walk with them on to help them find out what that is. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times people don't even really know who their ideal client is. So, that does take a little bit of work to really dig into and, find that. But once that's defined, it helps to shape everything else. It makes it much easier to write messaging because you know exactly who you're talking to.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what would the next step? So maybe you're clear on who you want to market to. You know roughly the sort of pain points, the things that they're struggling with. What would else sort of would feed into the strategy of helping them out?
Sure. Yeah. I would say, if a small business owner or entrepreneur is just starting out, with their online marketing, I definitely recommend having a plan. That's something that I try to map out with all of my clients because it really gives you a roadmap. And without one, then your efforts lack focus. So you wouldn't, hop in the car and head on a road trip without a, map of where you're going. And the same really should be with your marketing. You have to dial in on that ideal client and that messaging that we talked about. They need to understand when they see your content that, you're the right fit for them. So really those first steps of mapping out who your ideal client is and dialing that messaging is really important. And then usually the next thing that I really like to do with clients kind of depends on where they're at. So if they're doing a lot of all of these marketing things and they have a lot of pieces of their business in place already, they might have a website, they might have a funnel, they might have, some social media. I think it's really important to look at what they currently have and audit what's there, because a lot of times there's really great pieces there to work with. So you can really go through it all and see, okay, this is great. You can see what's working and what's not working. You can see are they speaking to their ideal client? Is the messaging on point? If they're doing social media, are they on the right platforms? What does their email marketing look like? And then usually based on that audit, then we dig into, what are we going to work on first? Really foundational pieces, making sure that the website is a really solid foundation to build all of these different things off of, to build their funnels and, social media and email marketing, all the different things. So that's usually where I start. And then we like to also get our clients, if they're not already, to build an email list, since email marketing does have the highest ROI of all the digital marketing efforts. And, once you have a list of, people who are really interested and, raving fans of yours, then you really do have a never-ending list of people who are excited to buy from you. So I always say to my clients, once we have the foundational pieces in place, we should look at a funnel and have some sort of core lead magnet that we can put front and center on their website and in their marketing. And it should be something that's a really good representation of their brand and have a wide enough reach within their target audience that it should really complement and align with other products, services, programs, whatever it is that they have to offer, and really dial in to tackle, one particular challenge that your ideal client faces. So the idea with that core lead magnet is to give them, something of value, something that they can put into practice today, that they can get a quick win from. And it also gets them into your funnel, into your world. And then you are now able to nurture them. You can really, provide them with more value add content and, help them through that funnel as they warm up, get to know you better. They, like and trust you more. And then before you know it, they become a paying customer. So I really think that's one of the big pieces, because once you're kind of building that email list and you have all of those leads coming in, then you can really start to branch out and look into, creating regular content that you want to go out to your audience and using that content to create, a weekly newsletter and social media and breaking it up into as many other pieces of content as you can.
Okay, that all sounds very wise. Yes, I'm just thinking for people listening as well, like we can all do an audit of where we are based on what you're sharing now as to,
Sure.
yeah, that bit's working and that bit's not working. Oh, that's a good thing to add. And
Right.
am I actually doing it with that focus, with that intention or not? So this is all really good stuff. I suppose in some ways is the challenge with an email list, is it that how do I reach people to get them on my email list? When they're on the email list, I can sell to them, but if I haven't reached them beforehand, how can I kind of build them and help them? So for people struggling with maybe getting the first traction, a first
Sure.
sort of 100, 2,000 people, whatever might be? What would be any elements with regards? What I really liked what you said was have a lead magnet that speaks to their need for the quick win.
Hmm.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. A lot of the time we miss that. Um, but what would be? Is there a certain product or a way? So a PDF, a video, access to a course, anything particular? I know you help lots of different businesses, so
Hmm.
in some ways, I'm guessing, is there a more generic thing that would win across the different businesses people are listening to, and then they can dial down to be more specific if they've got a core service, or is it just depends what your target market really is looking for?
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on what your target audience is looking for sure. But I think there are certain types of lead magnets that really, just jump out to people. I think a lot of it is, what's included in it, and whether or not it's something that they can take and actually put into practice today. So, I always tell my clients, is there a particular question that you get asked over and over and over again? If so, that's your lead magnet. I mean, that is like the perfect way to give people a entry point into who you are and what you do. And then you can solve that one small challenge that they're having. So I think that can really be showcased in a lot of different ways. I have a lot of clients that will do something as simple as like a workbook, something small that people can work through and get to an end result. I have other clients that do like a video series, and those do really well. And so I think you just kind of have to decide, where your target audience is hanging out, because that will also kind of gear how you set up your core lead magnet. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily just, one thing that works. I mean, there's a lot of different types that work well. I mean, I've had clients that have, like a physical product. I have a client that does lunch boxes. So, like for their lead magnet, we did a recipe book, of different types of recipes that you could make that would be perfect for this type of lunch box. So, I think you just kind of have to really think about what your audience would really like be interested in, that they'd be like, here's my email. Yes, you can have my email address. Absolutely. I definitely want this.
Yeah, that's really good. And I guess also it's like asking yourself, what is it that triggers me to give my email address to people, isn't it?
Right.
What questions are
Absolutely.
they answering for me? Because, like, from experience, like, you can join loads of email lists. Whether you actually read the email when you get it is
Right.
another thing. But there's got to be something that you don't just throw your email out everywhere, do you? It's a bit of personal information. So you are specific, I would hope, everyone listening, we're very specific and strategic about who we give our emails to. Because,
Right.
in a sense, we're giving them access to our attention at some point, however much time we spend on the emails or whatever that they send. But potentially
Right.
we're inviting them in, aren't we? So it is key, like you say, that A, we're offering something that's helping them now, but also the nurturing process going forwards as well. So let's go on a
Right.
journey together. Let's help each other together over a longer period of time, rather than just a great got your email now and then just help people with sales things. Doesn't work that way, does
Absolutely.
it? Puts us off. But this is all really good. I knew that we I'd like to chat to you a lot more than I can on that subject, but it's really good. Everything you shared just on that is really good. The second part of our conversation, I was hoping to get to a little bit, is more so for people that maybe they've either got a plan now or they're tweaking from what you've said, what they've
Hmm.
got already. If they're thinking about using a team, if they're
Hmm.
thinking actually, yeah, I'm burning the candle at both ends. Things are not working as they are. I love what I do, but I need to get a better balance. What would be some of the things that maybe you shared already, the benefits that you found, and it
Hmm.
helps you progress your business? But for people that are sort of still toying with the idea of, oh, I don't know, not quite sure, anything else that you could share that would really help them think about the process in more detail that would help them sort of decide one way or the other?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I think a really good exercise to do is to kind of sit down, when you have a little bit of time to think through like your normal day, your normal week, and, make a list. And I've told prospects before to kind of make a list in 3 columns. And, in one column, write down everything that you don't have time to do, whether that's things that, are bigger projects that have a lot of moving pieces that you just keep thinking, I really want to create an online course, but I'm never going to get to it because I don't have time. And list all of those things. Then in the second column, list everything that you just don't know how to do, things that you definitely want. You want to have a funnel, you want to have, a social media presence, but maybe you just don't know what that even means or how to even make that happen. List all of those things in the second column. And then in the third, write down everything that you don't want to do, that you don't need to do, and just jot them all down. That's a really great starting point, because it doesn't really matter what stage you're at in your business. You're going to have things that will fit into one, if not all of those categories. So then I always, when I meet with clients to go over this list, I like to go through it and say, okay, well, let's pick the things that are going to have the biggest ROI for you right out of the gate, low hanging fruit type things that you can hand off to our team that we know is going to have, a return for you. So, like we were just talking about, maybe they don't have an email list and they don't have a lead magnet, that would be a really big thing to have at the top of the list, because that's something that once you do get that in place and you start having people opt in, it becomes like a river of leads, that are at all different stages of converting within that pipeline. So, that could be something to hand off. And then there's things that are recurring type tasks, things that need to be done every week that, sometimes maybe you just don't get to, So I think really sitting down, writing out the things that you don't have time for, you don't know how to do, or you just don't want to do, and start there. Because once you kind of get those things on autopilot, then it's, really easy to grow your business. You have all this time that you never had before.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm a firm believer in the Pareto principle, the 20-80-20 principle as well. And it really
Yes.
is, if we can focus 80% of our time on the top
Yes.
20% of the things that
Yes.
we're passionate about, the things that we're good at, we've got experience at, that's where we get the most return. And it really is. Just because
True.
you can do other things, it doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Even if you've got the
Absolutely.
time, you're right. Even if you've got the time, it's just like, it doesn't mean you have to do it.
Right.
And other people that are skilled in the area can do it in half the time,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
even faster. So no, that's really
Yeah.
good. I suppose the caveat is, from what we've been talking about, is a team won't solve all the problems if you haven't got the fundamentals, the foundation,
Right.
and the clarity of where you want to go, who you want to talk to. But you actually help people get that clarity in the first place, don't you? Whether their next
Absolutely.
step is actually, yeah, I need a team, can you help me with that? Or whether it's just, I really need help with just one aspect. You're
Right.
able to kind of do a bespoke service to the individuals, which is really good, very flexible. Makes a lot
Yes.
of sense, which is why you're as successful as you are. So, yeah, that's really good, and it can help people, because I think it takes the potential daunting aspect of, okay, I've got a team. What do I tell them to do, and how do I
Right.
find them work to do, and all of that? And it's like, no, you start with the basics first, you build up, and the team comes along as and when you need to. And just in the aspects, like you say, there's the someday column. Be great if I could do that, but I know, if I'm honest with myself, I'm never going to get there the way I'm going.
Right.
Why am I keeping it on the list in the first place? But also just the other stuff, I don't want to do it. It has to get
Right.
done, but I don't want to do it. Makes a lot of sense. This is really good. You've kind of touched on, I think, the process of, if people sort of want to reach out to you, get connected, have a conversation about, okay, I think I know where I am, but external help is always good. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, at some point in our lives, I've learned more and more over the years that external input from other people, helps us see things we don't see,
Right.
helps us learn stuff quicker than we try and work it out ourselves. I think, like, you've been in the business 20 odd years, so people listening can either spend the next 20 of their years
Right.
discovering the same things, or they can reach out and have a conversation with you if that's the right fit for where they are. Everyone's at a
Right.
different stage, so there's different ways I know that you can help them. But is that first sort of step a conversation to maybe have an audit as to, I know I'm clear about this, but I know there's areas that I think need
Right.
work on, but I don't know what the answer is? Would that be the best sort of conversation as the first
Yeah,
step?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of clients that reach out to me, and I have a very large resources section on my website that you can check out all kinds of like videos and resources, workbooks, checklists. And a lot of times I hear people tell me that I started there, I did what I could do, but I still need help, you know? So I had that happen just last week where a client had downloaded a website audit workbook that I have. And he went through it and he was like, it was really great. I was able to fix some things that, I hadn't thought of before, but I still think that there's a lot of room for improvement. So, we jumped on a call. He kind of walked me through what was happening and, what his goals were. And, I asked him a few questions and we landed on, auditing the website further. So I went and did a full audit of the website, front end, back end, SEO, the whole bit, and really provided a really detailed punch list report for him to show him what's working, what isn't working, what are the areas of opportunity, and just listing that out. And then it was a lot of fun to jump on a call with him and go through it, because just to see like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Oh my gosh, you're so right. I am missing that. Together we were able to go through that and really create a plan on how we were going to attack the things that needed to be fixed. And we just made a plan on how we were going to fix it and what our next steps would be. So yeah, I think definitely, scheduling a time to chat, that's always great. Or, checking out the different workbooks that I have, either way. But yeah, a chat is always nice because then I get to kind of dig into the details on, where you need help.
Yeah. No, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
So there'll be a link below to go through. Literally jennylyon.com. Is that
Yeah, jennylyon.com/chat if you'd like to hop on a call. Or yeah, jennylyon.com or anywhere on social media, Jennie Lyon Marketing.
okay? Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would highly recommend everybody listening, certainly check out the website. There's lots of stuff on there. There are sort of books, downloads, and things like that, which I had a look at, which looks quite interesting as well. But also, if you want to be quite objective about it, if you look at the website of somebody that does digital marketing, they're actually promoting themselves and helping people using the same tools. So don't copy her site, I'm not saying that, but you can see how she structured things, you can see the magnet and all of that in place. And that's just one example of how she's reaching and helping people. And she is. So you can do the same, learn the things that maybe you're not so good at, or get somebody else to help you with as well. So thanks, Jenny, for everything that you've shared today. Would be lovely to dig into SEO, branding, all of that sort of stuff.
Sure.
But literally, you've given us enough to think about for now, and to really stop and have a check of where we are, I think, and just to see any areas we need to tweak or change. So yeah,
Absolutely.
really appreciate your time. I knew it would go fast, but that's a good sign in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's been brilliant. Thank you. And for everybody listening, yeah, as we always encourage you, take action in one way or another. We're here to help you. Jenny's here to help you. There's lots of things we can learn. Wherever we are, we can always learn something else. If we don't take any action at all, we're not going to grow. We're not going to change things for the better. So have a think to start with about the things that have been shared here. What could you actually adopt and start doing straight away? Also go to Jenny's website, have a read, have a look through, get on an email list, download some things. Whatever it is that you want to help grow your business with, or the areas that you feel you're not so good at this point. And then have a conversation with these. It's not a committed conversation. you can find out what will work. Maybe it's something you can investigate, and then in the future, as you grow, that might be the better time to bring on a team or a couple of individuals. Whatever, you'll find what works for you. Everybody's at a different place, so there's different areas that we need help with. But yeah, really appreciate your time again. Thanks, Jenny.
Of course, absolutely.
Great to have another chat with you at some point.
I would love that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks,
really
Trevor.
cool. For everybody joining us, thank you for your time, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.